Processes are a main topic in quality management, but why are they so important? Why are we so concerned with our process, what's going on in it, what goes into it, and what goes out of it? So if you know your process, you can get better control of the quality of your overall product. If you know, for example, if you turn the temperature up 5 degrees, you have a very low quality product, then you can monitor temperature to prevent that poor quality from happening. If you understand the interactions between your processes, then you're going to have better control over your overall quality. For example, if you know that a product coming out of one process is going to go straight into another process, then you better make sure that product coming out of your first process has very high quality. Otherwise, it's going to impact the quality in your second process. And if you want to monitor your process, then you have to know what exactly your process is. Where does it start? Where does it end? And what do you put into it? What do you get out of it? So that's why we're going to talk about processes. What a process actually is inputs or materials going in. They are transformed into outputs, materials going out. So you can see this blue line here is what's coming into your process, which is outlined by this dotted box. It goes through, let's say, a mixing step and then a heating step before the material comes out, and that's your output. So the process is everything that goes on in that dotted box. A subprocess is a process itself, but it's a smaller part of an overall process. So here we have our subprocess, our mixing step, outlined by this dotted box. Whether you have a process or a subprocess, it still has an input and an output. Inputs are what's going into your process. So this can be raw materials, it can be different actions by people, it can be methods put into your process, or it can be different operations. You can also put in energy, for example, if you want to heat something, or take out energy if you want to cool something. But that's everything that ends up going into your process in some manner. What you get out of your process is called outputs. So that can be a product, a food product, a product that you wear, a product that you use. It can be a service. So you can have a process that generates a service. Think of customer service calls. There's a process that they go through to generate that service they're providing for you. You can get information out of your process. So this is data. Think of running experiments in the lab or collecting data on the quality of the outputs coming out of a process. You can also get results out of your process. So this is your process making something happen. If you have a lot of processes all hooked together, that's called a system. So a system is many processes working together to create an overall output. This graphic here shows you the system of travel for a certain company. So you have many different processes by many different people. So here we have the traveler, and then we have different departments. We've got the vendor in charge of making the travel happen. We have so many different processes going into this system that makes it very complex. So from complexity, from simplest to most complex, you have subprocesses, which make up processes, which make up overall systems. Let's take a look at an example. So we have the process of making breakfast right here. Our inputs are different ingredients that we're going to use to make our breakfast. So our breakfast in this case is bacon, eggs, toast, and what looks like hash browns. So in our making breakfast process, we have a couple of different sub-processes. So we're going to make the ingredients ready. That's our first sub-process. Then we have to cook them. You cannot eat raw potatoes, you cannot eat raw eggs, raw bacon unless you want to get sick and have GI distress. So our cooking ingredients is a sub-process, which also has various sub-processes itself. So we're going to cook our bacon separately from our eggs. We're going to toast our bread and fry our potatoes. And in the eggs, if we want to make an omelet, that's also another sub-process. So we have several layers of sub-processes here. Keep that in mind when you're making process diagrams, that each step in your process may be a process itself. Once we're cooked the ingredients, we have them all ready, we're going to serve them. And when that is done, our breakfast is made. So we're looking at our outputs right now, which is scrambled eggs, toast, bacon, and potatoes. So that in general is how you break down a process into its sub-processes to look at each step along the way and look at quality when you're doing that. So maybe your breakfast didn't turn out so good. Well, why is that? Is there something wrong with this sub-process, the ingredient step? Did you not prepare them correctly? Did you not cook your ingredients correctly? And if that's the case, did you not cook one correctly or everything correctly? You can also look at serving. What's wrong with the serving? Did you wait too long? Did you use a dirty plate? What's going on there? So when you're working on managing quality of an entire process, there's a lot of things to look at. And so it can get complex very quickly. But understanding your process, understanding what goes in and what goes out to each part is a major step along the way of controlling quality of your process and making sure you have a great breakfast.